Before I start this video, I want to tell Epic Games, if any of you guys are watching this video and you like what I've got, please take these ideas. This would literally make me so happy if you guys did do that, so please just take them all. And while you're over here, please consider subscribing. It'll help me out a ton. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with this. Here is how I would write a new Fortnite storyline. Also, this chapter would have more than 4 seasons, but it'll make more sense when I get to there, so just give me a chance. Starting off, this obviously won't be chapter 6, so let's just say that this is going to be chapter 8. So chapter 8 will start in 2027, 10 years after the beginning of Fortnite. So the chapter would kinda need to be time travel themed. And if only we had a character that uses a time machine in Fortnite. Season 1 would be the return of Kato Thorn, so I'm going to call it Chapter 8 Season 1 Revenge. This season would start with a scene with either Kato Thorn time traveling up to now, or he could just pull a Palpatine and somehow return. The story would revolve around Kato going around the whole island and collecting any cool items that he finds. This is just like in Chapter 4 Season 4. The season would have something very similar to the medallion system we currently have, but throughout the season, the medallions would slowly disappear because Kato Thorn stole them all. Once he gets to the final medallion owner, they fight back and win against Kato, and then this character would follow Kato through the time machine after he tries to retreat. This would lead us to Season 2. Chapter 8 Season 2 would be called Redone. The characters whose medallions were stolen in Season 1 would have their POIs replaced with old POIs. The 3 POIs that would return would be the Citadel, Mega City, and Eclipse Estate. The story would go as such. The character who followed Kato Thorn into the time machine would go around the new POIs asking people where they are. Eventually, they would find out that they were transported back in time. However, they got this information from the Ageless, who gets curious about this machine that the guy from the future is talking about, so he decides to investigate further. Midway through the season, Kato Thorn would activate the time machine again and bring in some of his allies to try and take over the Citadel. For the rest of the season, the future guy and the Ageless would protect the Citadel until Kato wins and takes over. After seeing this, the guy from the future would take the Ageless to the time machine and ask if he knew anything about it. They would try to get it working again until they are tracked down by Kato. Well, because of plot convenience, they would activate the time machine and the 3 of them would travel further back in time, back to Chapter 3. Chapter 8 Season 3 would be called Regrowth. After the 3 of them are traveled back in time, the Ageless would use his shockwave hammer to hit Kato with it, launching him away. There would be 2 POI changes to the map. The reality tree would be added to the middle of the map, and the volcano that held the Daily Bugle would also return, but the Daily Bugle would not. No new characters would be added at this point. After Kato was launched away by the Ageless, he would become fascinated with the reality tree. The guy from the future would go after Kato and try and stop him, all while the Ageless is studying the time machine. At the start of the season, we would get quests to track Kato down to stop him. And midway through the season, we would find him trying to absorb the reality tree's powers. I mean, because he's a vampire and he could do that stuff, I decided. And we would go to try and tell the Ageless, but he's nowhere to be found. So the guy from the future would recruit others that are already on the map to try and help them defeat Kato. At the end of the season, we would succeed and Kato would be finished. However, while we were fighting Kato Thorn, the Ageless would travel back to the present day with Dr. Sloan, ready to take over the island once more. Chapter 8 Season 4 would be called Return. After the Ageless went back in time to get Sloan, they also brought along some Chapter 2 POIs. This would replace the original Chapter 8 POIs, making the Chapter 8 map exclusively POIs from previous seasons, but not from the same season. The Chapter 2 POIs that would come back would be the Shark, Steamy Stacks, and Frenzy Farms. Frenzy Farms will be where the IO will set up their camps, so it wouldn't be the exact Frenzy Farm. The Shark would also bring along Sky, who will help you get info and fight throughout the season. The story for this season would start with the rise of the IO, and the guy from the future would try his best to stop them. The start of this season would be the main team of people gathering information on how to stop the Ageless and Sloan, and the guy from the future will tell our group that he remembers hearing a story about 7 mysterious heroes. So, all the way up until the midpoint of the season, we will be learning more and more about the 7 from stories that the guy from the future is telling us. And we would find out that because of all this time travel messes, the 7 are different people. Also, this would give Epic a chance to remake the celebrity skins into regular Fortnite skins. After learning about this mysterious 7, we try and contact them. The final week of this season would be us calling in one of the 7 by one day after the other. On the final day, the 7 would go on the offense and try and take down the Ageless and Sloan. However, they will show off that their plan was to put their time machine all over the island and start from the beginning. This would lead into a live event where we attack the Ageless, who now goes by Geno, and Sloan. After the event is over, all the time machines will activate and the map would slowly disappear, leading to a cutscene where we fall into a time wave along with our team. Very similar to the Chapter 1 end event. Chapter 8, Season 0 would be Restart. This would be the OG season for this chapter, and also Season 5. Since this is an OG season, we would only have a month to play it, meaning that we would get a new map update every week. Week 1 would be Chapter 1 Season 1's map. By Week 2, we are in Chapter 2 Season 1. For Week 3, we're in Chapter 3 Season 1, and Week 4, we're in Chapter 4 Season 1. Throughout the season, Geno and Sloan would change certain things, so once we get back to the Chapter 2 map, there would be 1 or 2 POIs that aren't supposed to be there, like Tilted Towers or Mount Olympus. At the end of the season, the time machine would get overloaded, causing them to explode one by one, bringing in the Chapter 9 map. Geno and Sloan would start to panic and try to stop it. However, they underestimated the amount of time they had, so they would get caught in one of the time explosions, sending them to random points in time. And this would be the end of Chapter 8 and the beginning of Chapter 9. And thus concludes how I would write the Fortnite storyline. Let me know what you guys think. I had a lot of fun coming up with this, so please consider subscribing. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye for now.